I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast,
episode 20. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to The Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am Myke Shrews, and here with me is my co-host, Tivis. Tivis, how you doing today, dude?
Cat decided to join us.
I see that. There's a big old tail right in the camera. All right, people. We want to get started here. This is our final episode of season 1 for the Munsters TV show. We do have one more episode left coming out next week that will end season 1 of the Munster Cast for you guys. And we have a guest coming on with us then. So check that out for sure. If you want to hit us up, message us, or anything like that on social media at TheMunsterCast through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I believe that's all the social media that we have right now. And you can also email us at themunstercast@outlook.com. And if you do so, you can ask us a bunch of questions or just tell us your story. As we found out last week, we actually had some really good questions to answer. So I hope everyone who's listened to last week's episode or the previous episode, however you want to look at it, answered the questions themselves, even if they didn't share it with us, because there were some cool questions to answer and really got us to think about more of the Munsters and the outlook of the family itself. So I really enjoyed those questions. What about you, Tivis?
They were actually led to a really good discussion, and it was fun, actually, like trying to figure out, casting for who would we like. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking but fun. Yeah.
And you want to do the casting too. It's like I thought about it after we did the episode last week. I was like, man, it's like the Munsters, you kind of want to do a cast that not necessarily everyone knows the actors, because you don't want them to be like, oh, it's Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, you want them to be more obscure actors or character actors, I guess, in a way. But ones that people don't necessarily know their names to right off the bat. So,
Daniel Radcliffe has Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, that's an odd choice.
It is.
I would never picture of that, but yeah,
I'm here for it.
There was something else I had before we started doing anything else. So last week, like I said, we did answer the question, so we ran a little bit longer. So I didn't do the character bios, but because this week we only have one episode that we're talking about, we are going to bust through all the character bios that we have left, and then we'll do a little discussion afterwards, and hope you guys enjoy this episode because the episode we're about to talk about, I actually enjoyed this episode. It got me to think a lot about the differences too between the generations right now. So I will start off before you go, and I'm going to do Grandpa's bio, and then we'll do the other. That way I can break the bios up a little bit throughout the episode. So I'm sorry, I'm talking really fast and a lot. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, and I know I'm probably am. So we're doing Grandpa Munster. We already did Al Lewis. Tivis did that in the first several episodes. We did the person. So now we're doing the character. So Grandpa Munster. Grandpa, his original name is Count Dracula, aka Sam Dracula, was born in Transylvania and counts proud 378 years. He put 3 children into the world, Lily, Lester, and an unnamed daughter. In younger years, Grandpa was a successful womanizer. Occasionally, he thinks he is still a lady killer and was married 16 times at the time he is single. At this time, he is single. To his talents belongs magic, most with unforeseen side effects, as we've seen, and supernatural capabilities. He is able to predict when the telephone rings. His dress reminds you of an outsized penguin. I guess so, yeah, because he's got the tails and stuff. Grandpa is in the habit to sleep on a slab or to hang down from a roof tree. That's it for Grandpa. Awesome. Do we have any other news things that we want to get to before we get into the actual episode itself?
I don't remember if we talked about the PG rating last week, but that's pretty cool. We also got set photos, and like a lot of the rooms I don't recognize, but that, you know, the main room we see all the time, the living room, that looks amazing. I can't wait to see that when it's finally put together.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks has been really cool seeing. One, we have Cassandra Peterson's cast into the Munsters, which, hey, I willed that into existence, people. Come on, like with last week's episode, because we recorded it right before that information was given to the public. Yeah, the PG rating is awesome because I think it's the first time I'll ever see a Rob Zombie PG content ever. So it'll be interesting to see that. So yeah. And then the set photos, I think you shared those on our Facebook page as well.
Did.
But
for some reason they won't let anyone share it off of our page, but it'll take you to his Instagram post and you can share his post. That's fine.
Yeah. If you just go to Rob Zombie's Instagram or go to ours and, you know, hit the Instagram button there and stuff like that, you'll be able to find those. And the set photos look really cool.
I can't wait to see especially the hallway.
Yeah.
Like, seeing how many episodes take place in that hallway. I'm like,
I'm very curious if he's doing, because everything we've seen so far from it has been in color. I wonder if he's actually shooting it though in black and white, or if there's going to be a black and white version of it.
You know, that's a good question.
Because I think, you know, I just would love to see the black and white version of the film too. Even if he does the whole thing in color, cool. But I would also like to see a black and white version as well.
I'm good with just color. I don't really care.
Oh, blasphemy. All right. Well, let's dive into this then real quick and get started on the final episode of the season, episode 38. Tivis.
All right. So, yes, Galen, there is a Herman, also known as My Friend Herman on the DVDs. Season 1, episode 38, aired June 10th, 1965. Written by Joe Connolly, Bob Mosier, and Lorne Liebman had a hand in it as well. Directed by Norman Abbott, of course. Who else would direct the finale? Yeah. For guests, we have Brian Nash as Galen Stewart, Eddie's friend. You'll have to excuse me. I did not prepare this in advance, so I'm doing this on the fly. Nothing speaks out to me. We also got Marge Redman as Mrs. Stewart, and she'll be back for a future episode, I might add. Let's see. Character? She was in no, different character. She was in Death of a Salesman, the TV movie.
Okay.
Anyone who was forced to read that in high school, I'm sorry. She appeared in the Cosby Show. She had a reoccurring character on Matlock, the TV series.
Okay.
And she's also dabbled in voice acting.
Okay.
Then we got Walter Brooke as John Stewart, the dad. Let's see. He was D.A. Frank Scanlon on Green Hornet. Green Hornet, personal favorite of mine.
Okay.
Blood feud with Seth Rogen over that, one-sided, of course. I have to mention that here. Sorry, Myke. I'm not seeing too much else.
He was in the Seth Rogen Green Hornet, or like the old serials that
he was in the old TV, the 60s TV show.
Okay.
He played a number of characters in a show called Insight, which I'm not personally familiar of, but yeah. We also got Harvey Corman, I think is how you pronounce that, as Dr. Leinbach. And he was previously in Family Portrait as Lenny Bates and will return again as a third and final character.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. What has he done? For anyone curious, I'm just scrolling IMDb right now. Oh, he was in The Love Boat as a few different characters.
Okay.
Love Boat, another series that I think underrated compared to the others.
But you're missing the big one that he was in.
Oh yeah,
Dracula, Dead and Loving It, missing, and Blazing Saddles, of course.
Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Oh, that movie is something.
He's also done some voice work as well, too, in several video games. But he is also in the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command TV show, which is really cool. So yeah, I think is really cool because I like that show. He is also in Jingle All the Way, an Arnold Schwarzenegger joint, as the president. I didn't know there was a president in that movie, but he's
the president of a company.
Maybe he's the president of the.
We just watched that movie for our Christmas episode of the other show we do. So you think we would remember this?
No, he was. There's no president. They don't, unless it's of a company. So,
it has to be of a company.
It has to be. And then he's also done like voice work for the Flintstones, stuff like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's a really good. His IMDb anyway looks pretty good. So, as far as content that he's worked on, yeah. Awesome, man. Anything else?
No, that was the last guest.
Okay.
And this is what happens when you got 50 hours work every week for 3 weeks in a row. All right. So, synopsis?
Synopsis. Episode 38. Yes, Galen, there is a Herman. June 10th, 1965, as Tivis already said. Herman saves the life of a young boy, Galen, by bending the bars. His head is... Oh, wow, I can't read today. Let me restart. Herman saves the life of a young boy, Galen, by bending the bars his head is stuck between. They become close friends, but Galen's parents think Uncle Herman is a figment of the boy's imagination. And sorry for the stuffy voice today, guys. All right. So episode 38, man. Where do we want to start? Because I have some notes for this one.
So we open up with Herman walking home from work. Yep. As he does sometimes. He doesn't always take the carpool. We, sometimes see him walking. Actually, we see him doing that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially early on. But he stumbles across a hopscotch drawing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't sure exactly how to word that. So
it's just like made out of chalk or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, he gleefully does it. And he's like real happy. Yeah. He's like, breaks the mundane everyday stuff. Then a kid's like, hey, you want to help me out here? I got my head stuck in this fence like an idiot. Why do kids do this? Because I've done it. I got my head stuck in a banister once.
Yeah, I was gonna say a banister, but never like a fence. Also, I never got my head stuck in a banister either. So
I was scared I did, but they managed to get me out. We are when we're first put on this earth.
I did like his. So yeah, he has his head stuck there, and Herman comes across him, and Herman is like, "Well, why didn't you just call for help?" You know, and I really,
what do you think I'm doing?
Well, no, he doesn't though. That's the thing is he's not. He's just sitting there. He's just standing there, and his reasoning for it is actually, I feel it because one, he doesn't want a crowd to come and start laughing at him, but the other one is he doesn't want his parents to call him stupid. And I'm just like, dude, like they're saying it in such a light-hearted way, like easy way to say it, but it's so true on so many levels, you know, growing up as a kid and stuff. It's just like,
we both came from families who razz the show love, so we fully understand.
Yeah. So I resonated with that. I resonated with a lot of this episode, honestly. A lot of different things. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this. And then so Herman bends the bars open and lets him out, and then just lifts him up.
One-handed over the fence.
And they just become buddies, I guess.
They shake hands, exchange names, and he's like, "Hey, do you come by here often?" He's like, "Yeah."
Right.
And he's like, "All right, well, bye, Uncle Herman." I'm like, okay.
And Herman's like, "You can call me Uncle Herman," because the guy's name is Galen, but he says, "You can call me Gale," which okay. So yeah. And then we go to the Herman's dinner table. This is not
after the intro.
After the intro, we go to their dinner table, not their kitchen though, but their actual dining room, which we rarely see them eat at unless they're trying to show like a bigger area, I guess. I'm not sure.
I still can't figure out if it's the same like table, just a different angle, because it looks like a different room every time we see it.
It's a completely different room because the other one, the other kitchen table or whatever is actually in the kitchen where the stove is. So this is like their dining table did get a lot smaller though, since Eddie had his little patch of hair growing on him, because the table was a lot longer at that point, but same room and everything there. So I think they shortened the table up just to give it more of a roomy space for this scene, especially. But so everyone's sitting around the table and they're all talking. Herman goes and tries to tell about
we open with Grandpa teaching Eddie how he helped discover America and mentions how he got around a lot.
Yes. I forgot.
And then we get Herman trying to tell, he's like, "Hey, well, here's my day," and everyone keeps interrupting.
They keep interrupting him, and then when they finally, and I felt this scene so hard too, as having kids and a wife and all that crap. I'm like, can I please just say one dang word?
Yeah, and Lily's like, "Well, go ahead and tell us." He's like, "I don't know if I want to," and Grandpa's like, "All right, good. I don't want to hear it anyway." And he's like, "Oh yeah, and I'm going to tell you."
The funny thing is, like, I've felt Herman all throughout this whole scene right here. It's like, well, when they finally are like, "Well, just tell us." I don't want to freaking tell you, man. Like, what are you talking? No, you don't deserve my story today now. And that will go on until my wife yells at me and just tells me, "Freaking tell me, because if you don't, I'm going to be more pissed off." But yeah, so Herman and finally gets his story out, and when he does it, they still don't give a shit. They're like, "Oh yeah, whatever."
Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, totally. You saved a kid. Okay.
It's like they just don't believe him or don't.
Yeah, Lily actually yells at him, saying he doesn't need to make up fantasies to make his life seem important.
Yeah. It came off awkward to me because I was like, "Wait, where is this coming from?"
Yeah, he's been credited in the paper for doing countless things and stopping the terrifying monster that is actually him.
Right. And they just ignore him, and she's like, "You're just a normal man. Like, deal with it. You have
a normal job.
With a normal job, there's nothing special about you." I was like, damn, like now you really feel that they're married. But yeah, so they're going, you just don't have to make up these stories. And then we get the nice jump cut over to Galen talking to his parents about the same thing, and they say the same exact thing back to him right at the same time, which I thought that was a cool little nice edit cut on here. You don't see many of those in the Munsters so far. So I
know.
Yeah.
And his parent, he's like explaining to his parents, and they're like, they like send him to his room, they ground him. It's like, why does he keep making up these lies? And the mom specifically asks, where does he keep getting these ideas for these terrifying creatures? And the dad goes, well, he's probably spending too much time around your family.
Yeah, I was like, oh damn, that was a low blow. So what was did I have a note for this scene here? Let me double check that. No, I don't.
Before we get to the bizarre thing Grandpa's doing.
Yeah. Oh, go on.
Oh, okay. I thought you had some. All right.
No.
So Grandpa's showing Eddie his special power for his home movie projector, which is just a squirrel that runs in a wheel.
Yeah. Is this when Galen's already there or no?
No, this was before.
Okay.
He's like, I've been filming 300 years before the camera was even invented. And he's like, boy, that sounds like that was hard. And Grandpa like turns to him and he's like, it was.
Okay, so he did say something like that. I was curious because I had in my notes when we start watching what he has, I was like, did Grandpa time travel? Like, is that another one of his powers?
No. I love the look on Al's face though when he's giving this line, because it's just like, it was hard. You have no idea. And so Marilyn asks, where's Herman? And he's like, oh, he's been put in charge of the complaint department, so he's probably straightening out a customer.
Yeah.
So like, all right, we know, we pretty much know what the parlor is at this point. But it turns out Herman's, oh no, never mind. That's later on. I was going to say he was waiting around for hours, but that's later. He's on his way home, and Galen jumps out from behind a post office drop-off box and scares him. And Herman's like, he's like, I'll jump out of my skin if you do that again. And with this weather, it'll be cold.
Yeah, and then they do the whole thing like, he invites Galen back to his house.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm like, this is totally something from the 50s.
Yeah, but before they head out, he has to do the hopscotch again.
Yeah, he does the hopscotch one more time. Then he grabs Galen's hand. They walk back to his house. And I'm just
he's just inviting the child.
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, as the episode progresses too, I'm just like, no way the storyline works in today's culture, because parents would be complaining that you're making it okay for kids to go with strangers to their houses. Like, and I mean, it's warranted too.
Well, I was going to say, there's actually a line later on that we'll get to that I'm glad happened.
Yeah.
So Galen arrives at the house and he's like, oh, he's impressed by everything, which why wouldn't he be? This house is friggin' awesome. Then he's like, oh, they meet Marilyn and she said, where's the family? And she goes, oh, they're down in the dungeon. So he goes and pries open the door, and Galen's even more excited because who doesn't love a secret room?
Yeah. And the kid's 9 years old? They say
he's around Eddie's age, whatever.
So it's like, the kids are stupid.
Oh, well, I mean, it's still a dream of mine to have a secret room. So I don't.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know if that's stupid, but I feel personally attacked here. Yeah. So, Marilyn goes down first and she introduces Herman and friend. And Lily's like, I hope he didn't stuff his shirt again from work. Or no, something about, I hope he didn't bring a stuffed shirt from work. So I'm like, what is the shirt stuffed with? But that line concerned me.
A human remains. Yeah, so then he gets Galen down in there and they all meet him. No one apologizes to Herman, nothing.
No, they're just like, oh, you were telling the truth. Okay.
Yeah. And
Herman aggressively snatches some chips too. Maybe out of because no one apologized to him and he's upset.
He's just like, screw you guys. I was right. You were wrong.
Yeah. And Galen sits between Eddie and Herman when they're sitting around the projector screen.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't offer the chips to anyone else. He's like, hey, Galen, want some chips?
Not only that, it was awkward too, because it's like you have Eddie there, another child, and we don't see the two kids interact.
Like, they like say hello to each other and that's it.
Yeah. But then we start the movie, or Grandpa's home movie. Apparently Grandpa was at Pompeii.
Well, first we see I didn't get the name of it. Did you? Where he performed magic and brought the house down every night, and it's just this building collapsing.
I don't recall what he called, what city it was supposed to be at, but yeah, I caught that. But the ones that stuck out were like Pompeii.
Then was Pompeii, where he was having a backyard barbecue.
Yep.
There's some footage of King Arthur, who was mad at the Saxons for stealing hubcaps off of his chariot.
And these were parts where I was just like, wait, Grandpa had to be a time traveler because he's not that old, right? Like,
yeah. We get Burke and Hare, who were digging up an old friend of Herman's, and a shot of the old home. And of the final one was Lily's music teacher, who vanishes, and everyone's like, oh, where'd he go? Oh, he's just taken 5. And all of this footage is stuff from the Universal Films collection.
Yep.
Like The Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and Tower of London were a few of the footage used.
Yeah.
So it's that's real neat that they used that, because that was the whole point of them making the show, was because they had the Universal monsters.
Why not? You own the stuff, you might as well use it.
Yeah.
And then you got theater style footage that you get to toss in the movie.
This was the original Dark Universe.
Yes. There you go. Yeah.
For those who don't know, that is a 2-time failed a shared universe movie franchise that has not taken off at all.
Well, maybe Rob Zombie's going to bring it back with the Munsters.
That's what they should just call it. It's the Munsters universe. But yeah, so Galen goes home to tell his parents about the entire family, and the dad loses it.
They overreact to their kids, even if it's just his imagination running wild. They overreact.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because this is like the mid 60s, right? 65. I still feel like they should have been. Well, I guess they're probably from the 50s, the parents, so they're probably still stuck in their ways.
They didn't know how to properly nurture children back then.
No.
Some of us still don't.
Very true.
Yeah. But the way he goes, he like grounds him. He's like, go to your room. He's like, what if I get hungry? He's like, well, then Uncle Herman can come and feed you. Like, good Lord, you're going to starve your child?
Yeah. And then as Galen goes upstairs, that's when they basically talk about how, we might as well get him seen by a shrink, basically. Like instant, like it's a, it kind of reminds me of what was that one? Drop Dead Fred. Their imagination. Hey, you're going to see a shrink now because you have an imaginary friend, type thing. Except for his isn't imaginary; it's real, as far as we know.
And
Maybe
as
the Munsters is all an imagination. It's all a dream for somebody. Bob Mosier's going to wake up and it was just a dream.
That sounds like a nightmare for the rest of us. Yeah. So after he goes to his room, the mom asks the dad, she's like, did you used to make stuff like this when you were a kid? And he's like, no, we just talked about Indians scalping and cannibals, normal, perfectly normal stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
they borderline it on the okay.
Yeah.
So then we go back to the Munsters' house after they talk about getting him a shrink, and Spot is missing. First Lily is walking around with a box full of trash that she's filling the trash cans with. This is the first time we've seen her do this act. We've seen her put dust everywhere and stuff like that. Never seen her put actual trash in the trash cans. So are they trying to say that being trashy is a scary thing, I guess? Is that what
you should definitely clean your house?
Yeah, I mean, like, I get the dust and the cobwebs because they're dead and they want to feel that way. But what about the garbage? Garbage doesn't make sense for them, I guess.
Yeah, well, clutter is just bad universally.
Yeah.
I should know. You can't see it, but boxes.
Yeah. So they're looking for Spot. They can't find Spot. Yeah, he got out of the backyard.
And not only that, but Lily regales us with yet another tale of Spot's day out, where last time, he got he ate the tops off telephone poles. It seems like every time he gets out, we have a new adventure of Spot that we just never actually get to see. Okay, here's a question I have that I thought of last night. Do you think in the movie we actually see Spot?
I hope so. And I hope that they do it very mysteriously too. Mm-hmm. Like we get, like in this, we only get like a head or a shadow and stuff like that in this first season anyways. We only have a head and a shadow, and I think maybe a tail we saw once. Do it like that. I don't want to see the full Spot, I don't want to see a full-on dragon, because you're talking for the Rob Zombie one.
Yes.
People didn't get that. But yeah, like I would love to see something that's just, kept a little, secretive with it, but we know it's there. We know Spot's there. But also we don't know when this movie takes place, if it's before or after Eddie's born, because we haven't cast an Eddie yet that we know.
Marilyn.
Or Marilyn. Marilyn's an easy one. They could just say Marilyn hasn't moved in with them yet. Yeah. Honestly. But Eddie, it's like, has Eddie just not been born then? Is this is this a prequel to the TV show?
That's a good question.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. I never thought about that.
I didn't think about that either.
Let us know if you think the movie is a prequel to the TV show. That would be awesome, actually. I could see him doing that.
Yeah. And then we know we do have some shots of the old country he was filming over there, but we don't know,
what or why,
to what degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude. Right. I just blew my own mind. Yeah. Okay.
Man, I can't wait for the first trailer of this. All right. So back to the episode.
Yeah.
So Herman comes in looking all sad after Eddie's, where's Dad? He needs to help me. Mm-hmm. He's like, Eddie goes, have you seen Spot? He's like, no, I haven't seen Gale either. He's like, I was waiting for him. It's 3 days I haven't seen him.
Like, I waited an extra 20 or 30 minutes today. Yeah. And
he's neglecting his own child at this point for a stranger's kid.
Like, no point. I haven't seen him in 3 days.
Lily makes a comment that I am so glad is in this episode. She goes, he can't save kids every day. And then and Herman goes, oh, my life is just so dull. And Lily's like, well, maybe he's at home playing with someone more his own age level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lily, we're all thinking it.
I will say though, when I was a kid, I did some stupid stuff, and I used to hang out with an older guy, like he was pushing 70, 80.
Yeah, so, I mean, there were
not 150 though. He wasn't pushing 150.
There were adults that didn't have kids in the neighborhood that my dad's in, but it was a small, like I said, I don't even think it had enough people to qualify as a town. It was a village, and they personally knew everyone. So
yeah, that's not the way it was when where I grew up. So
no,
it was a city. And you shouldn't have. I should not have done that. As an adult, I'm like, okay, I get it. But as a kid, I was like, whatever, this is cool. He's a cool guy. I got cool stories out of it, which I kind of think it would have been interesting for them to do with Herman here, is give him some of those like old story stuff, to the kid to make him interested in stuff. Again, it sounds so wrong to keep saying it, but yeah, it's just,
well, as I lived with my mom in that same city you did, and she would have never allowed that.
Oh, my parents never knew. I don't think. Oh, my mom might know now when she listens to this. But the house was only like three or four blocks away from where I lived, so it was like I went out for the day, and then I went over there and hung out sometimes, and nothing bad happened to me, thank goodness, but. I was lucky. Not every kid is lucky that does stupid shit like that. So
yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, so I'm just looking for my place. So Herman's like finally agrees to help his kid look for their pet, and he starts by just standing up and yelling for him in the house, which they already know he's not at, and then whistling like a foghorn blowing out the nearby window.
He did it. I thought he was yelling out the window. I thought that was the point of that.
He may have been, but the window's closed.
Was it though? Because the curtains went through the window when he whistles.
He blows the window. The glass breaks.
Well, yeah. So he doesn't need to worry about opening the window. And now Grandpa has his nice breeze that he always wants. Throwback several episodes ago.
Yeah. Now we get thrown back to Galen, and he's having his session with the psychiatrist, who is noticeably doing a bad German accent. He tells Gale, he's like, hey, you got a fantastic memory. Now, why don't you go run along to your room and avoid the windows? Which I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's an appropriate joke.
I didn't catch that, but that's funny.
He then tells the parents after he sticks his hand in a potted plant, I might add, on their coffee table. He's like, he's just got an overactive imagination.
Now, he does. I
have it verbatim here because this was such a good conversation, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious if they were out to play him to make fun of psychiatrists, or if he was just supposed to be a dumbass psychiatrist, because he does not take any hints proper, like any of the proper signs, I guess.
Considering how there's still a massive stigma around them even today, I would say making fun of them probably spot on.
Is there a stigma today though still? Because
yes, there is. Which anyone listening, if you have any issues and need someone to talk to, go do it. It is important.
Kanye, we're talking to you.
Yeah. People who haven't got to his level yet. It's like, don't worry about what anyone else thinks. It'll help you. And that is the most important thing. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to read this now.
Our PSA for this show.
Yeah. Hey, the Munsters have messages in some episodes. We can too. So this is the doctor speaking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the accent.
Oh, damn. I was hoping for an accent.
I think the boy has obsessive juvenile fantasies coupled with an overstimulated psyche. In other words, he's creating a fantasy world of his own. See, of course, in reality, we know that there is no 9-foot giant, which I'm going to stop here and say calling Herman a giant is a bit of a stretch for 9 feet. There is no haunted house. There is no dungeon. The mom, chimes in. You mean he made it all up? That's what you're grounding him for. Yeah. You see, the little kid looks at nothing and sees something. Looking at nothing and seeing something. Oh, that's bad. Of course, looking at something and seeing nothing, that ain't so good either. I think he's making a blind joke here. So now the dad chimes in. He's like, well, what should we do, Dr. Linebeck? Well, the first thing you've got to do is get him a doctor. The dad's, I don't have a verbatim from here on, but the dad's like, that's why we called you. And he's like, oh yeah, let's see if I know anyone. Oh, wait, I'm a doctor. Red flag. Does this guy have actual credentials?
Wait, what am I talking about? I am a doctor.
Yeah. Get this guy away from your child. He doesn't know who he is.
This is like the worst, psychologist ever.
He is.
That I've ever seen in any show or movie or anything. It's like, I know it's supposed to be funny and stuff like that, but still, it's the worst guy I've ever seen like that, man.
Well, we're about 30 years out from crap, I can't remember the name to complete my joke. The radio psychologist guy. What's that TV show? Spinoff of Cheers.
Oh, I have no idea.
Son of a bitch. All right. Well, regardless,
let's move forward. So then he's like, well, we're just gonna go. Oh, Frasier. You're talking about Frasier.
Frasier. Thank you.
I was thinking like spinoff of Cheers. I forgot that he was part of Cheers before Frasier. I watched all of Frasier, not Cheers.
Same here.
So then we go and he's like, oh, we're gonna, have him show me his freaking family.
Yeah. The best way to snap him out of a fantasy is to introduce him to reality.
Yeah. It's like, and we see this a lot in movies and stuff too, that deal with like these psycho things, where it's like, they go somewhere and they realize, oh, it was never here or something like that. And that's what he's basically trying to get them to do. A lot of the times they're horror movies and people have just moved the stuff already and they're actually not insane, but still. So the doctors calls down Galen. With it, I'm thinking of Gale, and then let's just go with that. So he calls him down. The mom calls him down, and he's trying to button his jacket, and he misses like 3 buttons.
Yes, he does.
Another red flag. This guy is just nope. I'd rather have my kid hanging out with Herman than this guy by himself. Like, why are these parents not going with him?
I thought they would.
Right? So then we go after that. We go back to the house, and Spot is going crazy in his little den area under the stairs.
Yeah, they got him back, and he's not happy to be back.
And Herman's telling him, just shut up, Spot.
Quiet down.
Quiet.
He slams the door shut on him, which there was a noticeable delay. I think there might have been a cue missed or something, because he pulls the lever and the door just doesn't go down. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like a good 30 seconds, it finally closes.
I think it goes down once you pull it back and you push it back forward is supposed to be their gag.
Maybe.
And I think he pulled it back, let him blow the fire a few more times, and then push it down. Maybe. I'm not sure exactly. So
Eddie's like, thank you for helping me, actually do your job as a parent. And Herman's like, you need to chain him up better. And we definitely have to break his habit of going down to the junkyard and asking for scraps. So apparently the people at the junkyard are friends with Spot and are feeding him.
Makes sense. You can get rid of the trash they don't need.
Yeah, once they found out, awesome.
So then they go down, or
Galen and the doctor arrives at 1313.
Herman and Eddie end up deciding to go down and continue watching more of Grandpa's videos.
Oh, yes. That's important.
Or not videos, films, movies.
Old home movies.
Because they weren't called videos. And then we get Galen and Dr. whatever Cuckoo shows up.
Lineback. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
At the door. And he's like, "Oh yeah, see, you see
a spooky
old
house.
mansion. You see a spooky house, and your mind creates these things like
these dungeons and dragons."
Yeah, he tries to just psychoanalyze everything from here on out now, and it's funny to see him like do certain ones that he does, and they knock on the door. He's like, "Oh, okay, see, no one."
I thought the line of Dungeons and Dragons was funny because this is almost a whole decade from before that was created.
So then Marilyn answers the door.
Yeah, after a long pause, because she's, everyone's not around the door. So she's clearly up in her room, like, I guess I'll get it again. He's like, because the doctor's, no one's here. We can go.
Which is realistic, dude. Like, I hate it when you go into a movie or show or something, you knock on the door and they answer instantly.
Yeah.
Like, are you just waiting by the door? It's not like the Addams Family where like Lurch is like right there usually.
Yeah, he's got nothing else to do. I've watched that show. I can tell you he's got nothing else to do. He tried to learn to dance once. It didn't go well. So she's clearly not in the living room. Mm-hmm. It's a nice realistic touch, as you were saying. And so she does answer. He's like, wait, someone like you lives here?
Yeah.
And then, she's like, we've lived here for a long time. And she's, hey, Galen, how you doing?
And then he's like, hey, he wants to meet, Uncle Herman, Lily, and everyone, basically.
Like, all right, come on in.
She goes to find them, and he's like, hey, do you want to see Spot? and he opens up Spot's little stairway thing.
Yeah, Spot's still pissed.
Oh, yeah, clearly. And the doctor is just trying to analyze what he saw.
Rationalize.
Yeah, rationalize it. He's like, it was a gas pipe. It's like, well, wait, what gas pipe has eyes and teeth?
Yeah. But if there's a gas leak, there's a good chance you could hallucinate. That's a real danger. That's a terror of mine. I have a CO2 alarm. But then Lily comes in with a pitchfork, and I'm just, why do you have this?
Well, she says that she was doing something with Olive.
Not till later, though.
Yeah, no, it's in this scene. It's in the scene.
Well, I know, but when she first walks up, she just has it. I'm like, why do you have this? So the clearly doesn't help the doctor much seeing this spooky lady with a devil pitchfork. Yeah. And she does mention, I was getting olives out of the jar, and he mutters to himself, I hate to see the martini. She then takes him over to Grandpa, who is having his siesta in the living room and just hanging there. And she's like, oh, I'll wake him up. And he's like, no. Please don't do that.
Yeah. He's terrified because when he sees Grandpa, he's like, no. Just don't do that. And then
he goes to fetch Herman and Eddie.
Yeah, from the dungeon.
And he's like, wake up.
He's like, oh, I got it. I never woke up this morning. That's it. He's like, maybe I'll just pinch him. Like talking about Grandpa. I'm like, no. You're supposed to pinch yourself, dumbass, if you think you're dreaming.
What he does, he pinches Grandpa, and Grandpa lets out a squeak like a bat.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, what the fuck?
He's so freaked out. And then we get Eddie and Herman come up.
Emerging from the mist.
Yeah. And then that's when he finally meets the 9-foot tall green giant with a flat head and bolts coming out his neck, and his hands are sewn on. He is terrified.
Also hairy, but not mentioned here.
Yeah. He is terrified. He's talking to himself or the wall. Not really sure. He's the crazy one. And he's like, okay, all I gotta do is run through the giant just to prove that he's not there. And so he turns around and he runs right into Herman and bounces right back into the wall.
And then Herman picks up on the German accent, and he's like, "Oh, did you know Dr. Frankenstein? He's the man who made me who I am today."
Yeah.
Which we have confirmation. Dr. Frankenstein exists and made Herman and presumably Charlie.
Yes.
With the help of Grandpa.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, maybe.
Or Grandpa was just in the room. Well, he was there. That's all we know.
Maybe Igor the Bat wasn't always a bat, and it was actually Igor.
Well, funny enough, we'll get into that in one of the future movies.
Will we?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
I believe we will at least.
Finally, they have proof of Frankenstein and all that stuff, so that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that was a nice little tidbit for this season finale.
Oh yeah. Especially with all the questions and stuff we all had. Well, we had going through this first season for sure. Yeah.
So the doctor's having a total breakdown at this point, and Galen's I think he's had enough excitement. I'm gonna go ahead and take him home.
Yeah, he looks like he's gonna get car sick in the house. I was like, wait, what? Okay. So then we go back to Galen's house.
He's telling his parents all about it, and they're like, "Oh, we believe you." Yeah, so why don't you head on to bed?
His dad finally turns around and like, "Yeah, we believe you, son. Like, you keep, and this is like a complete 180 for the dad." I was like, "Damn."
Yeah. And it is a really good message too at the end, what he tells his wife, because the mom's real good. It's like, why did you say that? And he goes, look, kids need to hold on to their imagination as long as they can, because the world sucks, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something a lot of parents forget, even today, even in 2022. We're going to date the show right now. Of course, we're dating.
We have multiple times already.
But yeah, even nowadays, like parents still, they don't let their kids use their imagination nearly as much. And when you don't, you deprive your kids of a lot of different things. So,
sometimes you can cultivate them, and they'll become, the next Steven Spielberg or George Lucas or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, an author, a comic artist. You never know. The creativity could lead to lifelong finding what they want to do and happy about it, unlike the rest of us.
Not only just in the arts, but, being creative and imaginative can also create technology and stuff like that. So
innovative. And, you might have the next Einstein.
I don't know about that.
Are you okay?
I don't know about that. No, I'm not trying to put his accent on either. I'm just saying it like that to sound weird.
Well, I'm not talking about Galen. I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
There's a lot of 9-year-olds inventing some crazy shit, dude. It's
we don't
awesome.
need any more A-bomb type things. We don't need.
Well, no, don't do that. Don't. If you got someone wanting to build the next super weapon, you should probably stomp that out of them. Just no, squash that dream immediately.
Stomp it out of them. I want the lasers on my shocks.
Yeah, no, we don't need any Dr. Evils. Oh, so yeah, and then they get the doctor sends his bill, and he's like, I've never known a doctor to write in crayon. And the dad's like, what?
That's
how the episode ends.
So I'm assuming the doctor's just gone crazy.
Or he was always crazy and they hired a complete fraud.
Yeah. We just didn't know.
There's the subtext here implies that he's fucking scamming them.
Yeah. I'm all right. So, and then we end there. That's it. We end on the dad just being like, wait, what? What did you think about them ending on not the Munsters for the season finale?
I thought it was appropriate for the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a problem with it.
Okay. I thought it was odd, but we already know there was a second season coming, but I wonder if they knew there was a second season then as well coming.
I don't even know if they did press releases for this stuff.
Probably not.
So
who knows?
But, yeah. So some after the only after talk trivia I got here is about the title.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on an editorial in a 1997 edition of the New York Sun, which included a famous reply, "Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus." Francis Church wrote it in reply to this little girl's question on the existence of Santa Claus, and this response has been part of holiday lore ever since. So I don't know it verbatim, but I have heard of it. And it's, it's something that they bring back up when the discussion of, should we continue the whole Santa Claus thing? If you're curious, I would look it up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's all I got.
Okay. Awesome then. So that ends the season.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the episode since we forgot last week to do this?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the episode. Like I said, there's
so much fun.
There was a lot into it, and I just it's hard to explain, I guess, but I felt a lot of these different like the plot points and stuff that they were putting in there and all that crap. I understood a lot of that because I'd either gone through it or I know people that do the stupid shit of like demonizing their kids for their imaginations and stuff like that, or just not trusting their kids too. That's another thing, is they show there's mistrust within kids because they're just kids. People just don't listen. So, or, hey, why don't you as the parent go and be like, hey, let me see whose house you're actually going to, like, So, because as we've seen, I think it was the very first episode of the season, The Masquerade, there was the guy who dressed up just like Herman.
Yep.
Maybe it's some freak person dressing up like, Herman to take advantage of your kid. Why don't you go and actually do something as a parent instead of just yelling at your kid? But yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in this episode, and I really enjoyed it, especially as a season finale. Pretty cool. And we finally
this was a really good end to the first season. We got some of our questions got answered. I don't know if that was the intention, but it's really nice of them to do that. Like, even though there seems to be loose continuity in this show, that actually feels like they are keeping track of the lore. Yeah. And that is refreshing for a show from way back, when people are like, it's just going to get erased anyway. I loved just sitting around watching some old home movies, getting a look into their past, just seeing them being who they are as a family. It was a really nice end point.
It was cool too to finally see like more extra footage or B-roll for the show anyways, even though it's from a movie, for the show from the movies that we've grown to know a lot of these different characters from. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I as far as the episodes is just great closure, I guess. Especially from, like you said, a lot of the questions we had were finally answered by the end of this season, so that's nice. So I can't wait till next season, man.
Yeah, we got a few, at least one special in between then and now.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the pilot next week, so it'll be strange because Yvonne and Butch won't be there, but Beverly will be back.
Yeah,
and so it'll be nice to see her again. Yeah. Do you have any episodes that still stick out in your mind?
Well, there's a lot of them. Do I remember the names of every single individual one? Probably not.
Or any specific scenes or even like guest characters?
Well, I do like seeing the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Was it Lester? I didn't like seeing him because it just brings up so many questions. Maybe Rob Zombie will clear some of those up. No wonder there's no Eddie. Yeah, I just like a lot of the stuff where we get more backstory for the characters overall in this season. I just like the backstory of everything. As far as the storylines themselves go, there are a few good ones here and there. I am really glad that they got away from the thing where they were always taking Marilyn and making it like a love interest thing gone wrong storyline.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they got away from that because we were doing that way too much with is it Pat, right?
Yeah. Even Beverly had a few like that as well.
Did she?
Yeah. Mostly guys running for their lives upon seeing the family members, but it's still.
Beverly is the new one, right?
No, Pat's the new.
Pat
Priest.
So it's Beverly who I'm thinking of. I apologize, everyone.
Yeah, Beverly Owen was the original Marilyn.
So Beverly had the most of them. Pat had a couple, like maybe one or two, if that. But
I think Beverly Pat might have had some of the worst ones with, the creepy guy wanting to kiss her.
Or the one who wanted to kill her, like marry her, kill her, right?
For her fortune. That wasn't even theirs.
Yeah. So it was interesting to just have the whole show, man. I don't, what are some of the ones that stick out to you, I guess? Because I don't have any specific ones.
Family Portrait, of course, still sticks out because that was just a great send-off for Beverly. Mm-hmm. And also, we watched it in color, and that was a complete mind trip.
Experience, definitely a different experience for the Munsters, for this version of the Munsters.
And it's some of the other ones, where they go up on retreat to that deserted mining town. That was cool.
Herman's Happy Valley. I really enjoyed that. And the other one was when they went camping and Grandpa got stuck as a wolf. That one was fun too.
Yeah, Grandpa's Call of the Wild.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed some of those ones.
Another one that I really loved was Don't Bank on Herman when they get trapped in the vault. That was a pure that one made me laugh so much. This is so much good from this first season, and I can't wait to see what the second season has for us.
Oh yeah, and next season too, we'll be going through some of the movies that came out as well.
Yep.
Two movies I believe there were that came out around that time, either right after or during. I know one was during this season.
I believe they were both after.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah. I should have pulled up the schedule when I started talking earlier.
That's fine. We'll put them in order for sure for everybody that is listening.
So our plan as of right now, and if it changes, we'll announce it. but we're going to do the pilot, and then we're going to check out the, was it 2011 and 2012 Mockingbird Lane pilot?
Oh, are we doing that right now? After
well, that's on the schedule. We can move it around if you want.
Okay. well, let's talk about that off air.
Okay. So we're doing the pilot for sure.
Yeah. So next week we're doing the pilot to close out, like I said at the beginning of the show, to close out the Munster cast. And we have a guest coming on, a buddy of ours, Austin Mosier. No relation to Bob Mosier. I asked, but no relation.
You can never be too sure.
But yeah, so that should be fun. He really enjoys the Munsters, so I'm interested to hear what he has to say about the show, and the characters, and of course, like what he wants to say about the episode we're going to talk about, the pilot.
Yeah. I'd also be interested to hear his thoughts on the first season.
Yeah, the whole first season, and I might pick his brain about the Rob Zombie film coming out. So,
of course,
hopefully he's not too much of a Rob Zombie hater. But I know there's lots of people out there that are. I know I like Rob Zombie's music and his movies, so I have a different take on everything. So
I like think of myself as more of a skeptic.
Okay, we can go with skeptic. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the finale with you guys, and can't wait to watch the pilot, because I actually have not watched it yet. I'm not sure if you have or not, but I have not. Okay.
As soon as we wrap this up, actually, you might notice my DVD is missing. It's because it's downstairs. I'm going to watch it because my wife is out and it won't bug her.
Nice. You should get her to watch it.
Oh, that'll be like pulling teeth.
You need to get her to watch the other ones that we're gonna do. You might get her to watch 1313 though, Mockingbird Lane movie.
Maybe. It's after 2000, and that's generally what she likes.
Nice. So I'm gonna do real quick the bio for Eddie Munster and Marilyn Munster. I'll just do them back to back, knock them out, and then we can finish up here with everything else. So Eddie Munster, played by Butch Patrick, as Tivis has given us a little bio on in the past. Eddie Munster, Edward Eddie Wolfgang Munster is at the beginning of his life. Sorry. At the age of 10. Oh, go on.
His name is Eddie Edward.
No. Edward is his name, but they call him Eddie.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't use the quotations for the Eddie. Sorry. Here, I'll start again for the video people. Edward Eddie Wolfgang Munster is at the beginning of his life. At the age of 10, he has a lot to catch up on of experiences of life. Of a lot to catch up on of experience of life. Okay. His relationship with a werewolf is immense. So it was inevitable that his puppet, Wolf, also belongs to the species. Sorry. His special shaped ears anticipated this of Mr. Spock, but it is for certain that Eddie isn't a product of a Vulcaneer. Okay. Did I write this?
I was just going to ask that.
Also, little Eddie is fitted out with specific talents. He doesn't have any difficulty to open a tin with his ears, and he prefers to sleep in a casket. Eddie Munster visits the 5th grade of the Mockingbird Heights Elementary School. He is fond of playing with his classmates so far as he can catch one. What? So far as he can catch one. Okay.
Give me tag.
For a performance test, he wrote for the song My Parent, an Average American Family. My Parents, sorry, an Average American Family. I'm assuming that's in the second season, because I don't remember that in this season.
No.
Okay. And then Marilyn Munster, played by both Pat Priest and Beverly Owen. Pat Priest just rolls off your tongue. Like Pat Priest. It's like a comic book name. Like,
yeah.
Marilyn Munster is considered to be the ugly duck in the family, at least for the Munsters. She is around 23 years old and for the rest of the world, beautiful and sexy. She is the daughter of Lily Munster's unnamed sister and distinguishes herself for cooking, chatting, and laughing. This is that word again that we had a few weeks ago. Sigh, S-I-E, is an involuntary single. Maybe it's supposed to say she. She is an involuntary single lady because, oddly enough, all her admirers never again turn up after a visit to her family. What confirms the speculation of the remaining Munster that Marilyn is too ugly. What? Okay, I'm sorry. Reading other people's things is hard. What confirms the speculation? Here, what confirms the speculation of the other Munsters is that Marilyn is too ugly in regards to holding down a man. Her irrevocable goal is to find a man, any man. And that is not how women should live, ladies. Please don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Find yourself an ugly man. He'll appreciate you more.
Work for my wife.
Oh, geez. We're off the rails. Might as well get it out now. All right, man. So, do you have anything else for this episode? Like not what we watched, but for like the whole season as a finale of sorts.
Yeah, this has been a tremendous fun. One thing I neglected to name earlier is Paul Lind. His 3 episodes, fantastic. And like, it's no wonder this show captivated people almost immediately. Like, I'm curious going into season 2 why it didn't get more, other than we know for a fact that there were people at the studio who hated it, which may have played a part, which I will never understand. If you have something that's, getting eyes on your stuff, that's ad revenue, that's all kind of like, why are you actively trying to kill it just because you don't enjoy it? I will never understand those type of executives.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
I don't even know how to put it into words. Like, this has been a blast.
In regards to what you said about like the canceling and stuff, it's like you think about it, and like there's a lot of shows then that have become very big nowadays. Like look at Star Trek. 3 seasons. It was canceled around the same time that this was canceled, actually. So season 1 started the
when the show ended, pretty much, or the year after.
Yeah.
It was around when Batman started. I know that.
Batman was out when this was out.
66?
Wasn't it? Yeah. Oh.
Not the stuff we watched, at least.
So the original Star Trek series was 66 to, I want to say 69-ish. But it still got canceled short. And it was a very beloved show, too. So the Munsters, maybe they just didn't do it. So.
Yeah. It's
but they did get movies. They did get movies.
They did. And we will go into those. But
bonus.
I am truly shocked the show did not continue, because it is family, like just wholesome family entertainment, pure and simple. Like, I don't think you could find it in a more raw form than this show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's not much I can say about the season that we haven't really discussed episode by episode. Did you have any other questions or anything like that, man?
No.
I was looking up questions last night, like questions to ask yourself after you finish a show, and I just couldn't find any good ones. And not
what did that show mean to you?
Right. What did that show mean? Or, was it worth the time?
It meant a damn good time. That's what I meant.
Right. So one of the questions was it worth your time? And I
Hell
100% say yes. We've been watching since October 2021 so far. I think that's when we started.
Yeah. And well, we've started in September, but they didn't release until October.
Yeah, that's right. So we've been watching since September all the way through March now. And I do not feel like I've wasted any of my time watching these episodes at all. And I wanted to do another pitch of the DVD set for people that can see on the video anyways. The Munsters DVD box set. There is the very specific one that comes with the colored episode of Family Portrait, and it also comes with the full-length movies Munster Go Home and The Munsters Revenge. So if you have not,
and the pilot,
if you have not yet picked this up, and say you're like watching the episodes on, what is it? I think Hulu or
might. I think Peacock has the original show.
Yeah. But they only have the show there. They don't have the bonus pilot episode.
Yeah,
or the
since they left Tubi, it's hard to find a lot of the stuff.
So they don't have the bonus stuff that this does. And I think when we got it, it was like $10.
Yeah, it was a crazy sale.
Now it's still only like $19.
We bought it in 2020, so this is how long we've been talking about this show.
Yeah, so we got it then, but it's still, you can pick it up at Walmart for $19. I think you can get it on Amazon for $19. Again, not making any money off of you buying it. I don't give a crap. I just recommend that anyone who loves this show and is watching the show, or even listening to us and wants to see these images for themselves, who've never even watched the Munsters and just like listening to people talk, I think you should still pick up the box set, because it's a pretty good box set for everything from the 60s Munsters, at least, minus a few like documentaries and stuff like that you can find on YouTube. Unfortunately, they don't have actual releases for some of those things. So yeah. So as far as that goes, I just want to remind everyone that they can find us on all the socials at TheMunsterCast, and they can email us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. I also want to thank again Chelsea from last week for your questions. They were great. If you got any more cool or interesting questions like that, please email us, along with anybody else out there. You got anything left, man? Anything left in the tank?
I am looking forward to checking this pilot out today.
Okay. Thank you again. And definitely come back next week when we talk about the unaired pilot. Even if you haven't watched it, I'm sure we'll be able to explain a lot of it. There's probably going to be some good information in that episode too, about some of the characters and how we feel about the different changes and stuff like that. So with that said, guys, thank you. And we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.